Wow. The boys are back. You know, David, I know you were traveling around and got to hear about things on an international level. And I'm sure had a choice of watching different news networks while you were all over the place. It's nice to see you're home safely.
Thank you, sir.
When we talk about home safely, we can talk about those that are in many countries in the world. But today we're going to focus on Israel and the indiscriminate bombing into civilian neighborhoods by the Ayatollah Khomeini, that crazy motherfucker who's in a bunker, God knows how many miles underground, who frankly has been the world terrorist since the mid-70s and continues to bring terror to every corner of the world. You know, there was a video posted on Instagram, which I also saw on Facebook, where you had different imams talking what they would do in the United States the minute they had control. And that is they would remove and destroy the Constitution and put the Quran law in its place. And that they have permission to destroy anyone who's a non-believer for any reason whatsoever other than the fact that they're a non-believer. And that they could lie, cheat, steal, kill, and it be, I guess we can use a way to get to Eden for them. And clearly, they lie through their teeth. United States, in a unique period, has the side of Israel, or so it seems, for the most part. And Israel has a unique opportunity of ridding the world of the final nuclear threat of the Ayatollah Khomeini. They got Syria, they got rid of Lebanon, they now need to get rid of Iran. And they also got rid of Iraq. So with that being said, the people of Israel are being terrorized with these indiscriminate bombs. Now, let's understand for a second that the Iranians were on the precipice of building an intercontinental ballistic missile, which would mean they would be able to launch the very same missiles to various states in the United States or Canada or anywhere throughout Europe, Western world. And would you want to let a bunch of crazy idiots have a nuclear weapon? You got to be out of your fucking mind. And so finally, I'm just going to start by saying in this monologue, may the country of Israel annihilate those jihadi, insane people and free the people of Iran from this genocidal maniac that has, for the last, 60 years, terrorized the planet. Welcome, everybody, to the Rant Network, a go-to podcast that's unfiltered, unapologetic discussion. Clearly, very unapologetic, where myself, Stuart Brisgell, and my co-host, David Solomon, tackle a diverse range of candid conversation and bold opinions. Like, can we get rid of those crazy genocidal idiots in Iran? Whether or not it's breaking down the latest headlines, exploring pop culture, debating politics, or delving into complexities of modern life, we offer a platform for this thought-provoking, meaningful rant discussion. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern, David and I rattle it off as we have for over the last 5 years. David, I just had a conversation with someone in Israel, and at 4 o'clock in the morning, in a beautiful residential neighborhood, they had to flee into their lovely room, panic room, war room, bunker. And moreover, while I was talking with her, Israeli jets were scrambling overhead, which means they're going to go destroy some more military targets in Iran. Now, what is the difference, David, between attacking military targets or densely populated civilian targets?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the lack of United Nations of condemnation about these psychopaths that need to be taken out, murdered, and hung off the very same cranes they decide to murder their own people with or gas their own people.
All right, Stuart. Well, let's take a step back here, ladies and gentlemen. When we ranted on Friday, or at least, pardon me, Stuart was ranting on Friday, was the preparation of an attack on Iran. And the reason why is because the world has decided that you can actually make a deal with a liar. As Stuart used it of the Ayatollah Khamenei, who's been in power not since 1979, but has been in power for quite some time. And unfortunately, the mullahs here have been preaching from day one death to Israel, death to America. You know, big Satan, little Satan, on and on and on and on. They never hide it. They've never hide it. You know who hides it, Stuart? The media in the North America, the media in the West, because the media doesn't want to paint these guys as what they really are, and that is, as you said, terrorists.
Hmm.
State-sponsored terrorism has been coming out of Iran for decades. There's no doubt about it, and the target has been Israel. With the idea of destabilizing the United States, this is what they try to do. Now, you know, Israel has said time and time again, and it's been that and it's provided to the United States intelligence, showing the advancement of the Iranian nuclear progress. Now, on the weekend, Senator Blumenthal, a Democrat, has said, "Look, we had an agreement with Iran. It wasn't perfect, but Trump tore it up, and that was probably the reason why they now have a bomb." Once again, instead of looking at the realities of life, we are going to we're going to attach ourselves to party loyalty, not about reality. The reality is that Obama and John Kerry acted like Neville Chamberlain when Neville Chamberlain came out famously in 1938 off the plane and said, "I have a deal with Hitler." That's exactly what they did. We have a deal with Iran. That deal was full of malarkey. That deal was so full of shit because while on one hand they said, sure, of course, we'll do whatever you want, inspectors could not go in, they could not go to the real places, bunkers were well underground, and Israel had to go out with their intelligence and saying, you guys have been duped again, believing in this. Now, whatever the reason why Obama and Kerry wanted to do it, don't know. But here's the crazy thing, okay, is that if Iran was to drop a nuclear bomb right now in Israel, it would annihilate the Palestinians. It would annihilate parts of Jordan, parts of Lebanon, and even parts of Egypt. But that's not even in the cards here. And so it's no wonder, and oh, by the way, parts of Syria. And there's no wonder right now today, as we are, once again looking at what the devastation that's going on, that, you know, other countries around Israel are not thrilled right now. And they're not angry at Israel. They're angry at Iran. Jordan, Syria, Saudi Arabia shot down missiles being fired at Israel, as you said, indiscriminately. This was it at civilian populations. As we are today, the death toll in Israel from all of now is at 14 dead. Hundreds are wounded. Okay, people have no choice but to stay near bomb shelters because, hey, guess what? This attack can come now at any time. It was during the night most of the time. Then yesterday they offed a shot in the middle of the day. Kids can't go to school. People can't go to work unless it's essential workplaces. You can't gather in public places. There are tours there right now that are stuck. People can't get back in. You've created chaos. Now, what do crazies in the world do? They blame Netanyahu. But Stuart, ironically, and this is the irony that I've heard, is that although the Democrats could still be stupid, they've actually thrown their weight behind Trump saying, we need to defend Israel. This is actually finally words from most of the Democrats, not all, because we know who would rather see Israel in the Democratic Party get destroyed. Okay. And Marco Rubio is standing up there for Israel and he's doing all these things. And the Democrats have no choice but to stand up for it. But when UK and France also announced that they were sending in military defense to prevent this from happening, the reality is that now the cover that's been on the world's eyes is off. Stuart, it's off. Now they understand. If people are paying attention and ignoring the Greta Thunbergs and her stupidity and other people with their stuff, the reality is that the snake is being attacked. You kept calling him the head of the snake. The snake is being choked now at the neck. Khamenei is hidden in a bunker somewhere. No one knows where he is. Good for him. There's talks about toppling a government. That's not Israel's mandate right now. Israel's mandate right now is to decapitate the nuclear program at its best. The IAEA continues to say, oh, there was no real damage. Good for you for saying those things. Okay. But the reality is that Israel's trying to cripple Iran. You said it. Firing missiles purposefully at civilians is against every part of the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, but they don't care. Where's the UN? The UN decides to go out and one side say, no, they're not following the rules, and then they go out and say, condemn Israel. It is mind fucking boggling.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. This is normal for the United Nations because remember who was running the United Nations, Stuart? Who is it?
Why do we let them run?
What do you mean? Who's they? When you have a general assembly there that gets voted in by the majority of the people there, the United States do not have that opportunity to do anything. Look, I really don't care. The UN. The UN has shown its desire to support terrorism. It's shown its desire to support rogue nations. Iran, come on, Iran was the head of the Human Rights Commission. I mean, look, when you start bringing in the inmates to be the heads of the asylum, you know what you get. But right now, today, when you have quiet from many Arab states, it screams volumes. When France was about to declare its desire for a unilateral Palestinian state and Macron withdrew, it speaks volumes. The world knows exactly what it is, but did not want to go there. They didn't want to go there. Israel did. Israel had no choice. Now, it's very easy for people to sit there and go, you need a ceasefire, like what Canada continues to do. Our idiot Anita Anand and stupid Prime Minister Mark Carney, and I have no care in the world if you guys want to publish this. The idiots here in Canada say, ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Fuck you. You have no idea what an existential threat means.
Well, it's Canada. You guys are the wimpiest wimps in the entire fucking planet. In fact, Canada has zero defense and it relies on the United States to defend it in all aspects.
Stuart, another rant. Please, we know, wave your American flag. You did this on your military is beautiful. We saw that on Saturday. Irrelevant to this conversation. What is relevant to this conversation is Canada continues to be feeble and show its complete lack of understanding on the world stage. When someone sits there today and says to you, Stuart, I'm going to kill you.
Listen, in the United States, if you own a fire weapon and you threaten to shoot someone, even if the fire weapon is a mile away, you go to jail in Florida for 5 years. It's a mandatory sentence. Listen, this country has been threatening the land of Israel and the United States that regime has been threatening, because you did correct me, since the 1970s.
Yes, the regime, not their leader. You kept talking about the leader. Forget it. Move on, Stuart.
At the end of the day, it is friggin' mind-boggling why we haven't dealt with this sooner. And I hope
because there's no fortitude.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Stuart, you think Obama? Listen, Obama was the guy who wanted the Muslim Brotherhood in power. And I had a very interesting conversation with some people from the Middle East last week in my conference where I was at. And they're mortified. They were mortified that Obama endorsed the Muslim Brotherhood to lead Egypt. They thought it was a good idea, putting terrorists at the forefront. And it's interesting because now that that's happened in Syria, Trump is bad. Why would Trump do that? Yet Trump, in my mind, and again, in my mind only, twisted the guy's arm from Syria when they met together in Saudi Arabia a few weeks ago. If you remember when Mr. Trump came to Saudi Arabia and he talked about Syria, he says joining the Abraham Accords and all these kinds of things. People are like, why would you meet the leader of Syria? Well, let me tell you, if you watch some of the social media videos, there are Syrians proud of taking down Iranian missiles that were fired at Israel. So right now, while the West wants to continue to pontificate and tell everybody how to act because they always have the moral high ground. Westerners believe that they're greater and smarter and more intelligent, more cultured than the Middle East and anywhere else in the world. And believe you me, I heard it about. I was in a conference with 33 countries, and you want to know what? That sentiment still reigns. That attitude still reigns. Americans walk around and talk as if they know better than everybody. Okay. I was around some quite successful people, and they're like, yeah, thank you so much for your opinion, but I never asked for it. And that's exactly what's happening in the Middle East. We didn't ask for England's opinion or France's opinion or Greta Thunberg's opinion or Sweden or Canada, whatever. You're not the one with the existential threat, Stuart. No one has got the gun to your head and ready to blow every citizen's head off. But if you like to see if a good Jew is a dead Jew to you, we know what you stand for.
Hmm. On that note, David, that brings this podcast to an end. I pray and I hope the world prays for the survival and the death to the regime in Iran. I pray that Israel finds its strength, that we see an end to worldwide hatred, worldwide terrorism with that end. And that brings this to an end. We truly appreciate you tuning in and spending some time. Your support means the world. We continue to foster an open, thought-provoking conversation. Don't forget, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Stay connected on our socials. Stay connected on our website. And also send us a PM. We've been getting a lot of those off our little snips off our YouTube shorts. We hope you continue to make them, even if they're unpopular, even if we don't agree with you. We still welcome them. On that note, David, do you want to say goodbye to our friends?
Wishing everybody shalom. Take care.